Stephanie.
You changed your picture. How cute.
Yes. It's an experiment.
An experiment?
Yes.
What is the experiment?
To see if a cute picture makes things better.
Better in the class?
Yes.
Interesting.
But I'm, of course, not you. Well, let's see.
Help you win Jeopardy more often?
No.
Help people be less mad when you win?
No. But you are getting close.
Okay. Interesting experiment. I'm interested to see how it works.
Actually, I don't think it's going to work.
Why not?
Just because. But at least I'm trying.
Well, it's cute either way. Makes me want to hug it.
Yeah, I thought the same when I saw this picture.
Oh, it's adorable. It reminds me of a coworker and I worked at a school that was just very bad. And me and my coworker just hated it. Like every week we had to go to these meetings that were just pointless and stupid. And so at the meetings, instead of get frustrated or angry or upset, we would just, on our computers, we would just look up pictures of kittens and show them to each other. So for an hour, we just found cute pictures of kittens every week, an hour every week, just showing each other kittens. I don't think that's a good use of the school's money, but it definitely helped us keep our sanity and stay happy. So maybe there is something behind your cute puppy. Anyhow, we should have at least 3 or 4 more people joining us.
Yes, I think they will.
Okay.
Yeah. I
hope so too, but yeah, if they don't, you're always good company. And this class is I say that about all my classes, one of my favorites. I like this one because I get to hear a lot of different viewpoints and opinions. So that's why I like this class. And the topic today I chose because I have a pretty strong opinion on it. And so I'd like to hear other people's opinions. So the topic is homeschooling. And I was just thinking, I've never done this before. But usually with this class, the focus is discussion. So we start by talking. And I thought today I'd actually just kind of type things that we say. I don't know, it adds the visual element of being able to see what we're talking about, which is helpful, especially when there's more people. But I'm going to try that. So let me know if you like that. Anyway, so like our preview, excuse me, what is homeschooling?
It is when the parents just decide not to enroll their children at a school when they either teach the children by themselves or they pay some private they pay for some private tutoring.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's a perfect explanation. Um, yeah, they either teach the children themselves or pay for a private tutor, usually to come into the home. Um, exactly. So that's kind of what we're talking about. Of course, it's interesting to me because I'm a teacher. Um, but do you have any thoughts on homeschooling? Were you homeschooled by any chance?
No, it's not allowed in my country.
It's not allowed.
No, uh, just if you are on a trip abroad, then you you are allowed to homeschool. Because there was a family who went on a huge trip sailing around the world, and they are Brazilian, and all their children were homeschooled homeschooled. But here it's mandatory to go to school. When children turn 6, they have to go.
Wow, that's really interesting to me. Um, I kind of like that rule.
Teacher, there is an exception that I forgot to bring up. Um, if someone is behind the others, you know, and for instance, adults, they can learn in their home, and there is a program on the TV called Telecurso Segundo Grau in Portuguese, and then they go to somewhere to take a test, you know,
Mhm.
because they are behind the others.
Okay, interesting. That's really, really interesting to me. Because that kind of aligns with my opinions on this topic. Uh, So that's interesting that it works that way in Brazil. Um, what's your opinion on that law? Do you think that's a good law or not, or what do you think?
I think it's a good law because the vast majority of the population in my country is poor. And if it wasn't mandatory to enroll children at school, some of them would be illiterated, you know. And and furthermore, I believe children have to socialize. They have to live with other children. They have to learn the hierarchy in a school, and things like that are not possible when they are homeschooled. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, really, and really well said. I have to say, I agree with you on all of those points. Um, really well said. Let's say hello, Thess.
Hi, Stephanie. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are
Mm,
you?
I'm fine.
Good, good.
Uh,
Good. Where are you from?
I was born and I grew up in the Philippines, but I'm in California now.
Oh, wonderful.
Mhm.
Um, it's very nice to meet you. Welcome to class.
Yeah, it's my first time in your class.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're here. So if you look in the chat, thank you, Anna. There's a link there to the lesson. But we're just warming up so far. And we're just kind of talking about uh, what is homeschooling. And we have a nice definition here. Um, so let's see, just in your opinion, what do you think about homeschooling? Um,
I homeschooling. Some kids will benefit from homeschooling, especially I think some child actors or child actress in our country. I think they're taking homeschooling because that fits their schedule. Yeah, because most of the time they're in the shooting, so yeah, it benefits some kids.
Oh. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of. I didn't think of working children or child actors. They're in California. Yeah, must be something.
Yeah, in the Philippines, yeah, I heard some child actresses are in homeschooling.
Yeah, and I think that's common here as well because, of course, they have to work during the day.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Mhm.
Great. So homeschooling can have a place, can be necessary at times. Let's get to our lesson. We're just going to start. Um, well, I think we've got a couple more questions we might touch on. But then we'll do vocabulary, a little reading, and some more discussion. Um, all right, so let's see. Let's look at question 2 because we've already mentioned one reason. So if the child has to is an actor or actress, has to work, what other reasons might we have for homeschooling children? And since there's so few of us, I'll just I won't call on people, but I'll leave it open.
Teacher, it's better to go because we don't have a raise your
Okay, okay.
hands button.
Without the visual.
Otherwise, I won't say anything.
Okay. Well, what do you think, Anna? Can you think of any other reasons parents might have for homeschooling?
Yes. Um, for instance, if they are going on a trip, or sometimes because they want to put some ideas inside their minds. Once I was uh, watching a documentary about an awful family who was skin who was skinhead,
Hmm.
made of skinheads, and they were teaching wrong things to their children
Ooh, interesting. Yeah.
in the U.S.
Um,
and sometimes because the the child might have a problem. Maybe the child suffers from a TGA, ADG,
ADD. ADD.
ADG,
Yeah.
ADG, or sometimes they label the child. They think the child suffers from ADG because nowadays everything is ADG.
Yeah. Yeah. Attention deficit disorder. A lot of children, more than ever, being diagnosed with that. Um, yeah, good ideas. I certainly wouldn't have thought of that one. Influencing the mind. Great. Tess? Is it Tess or
Uh,
Tess?
Test.
Tess.
Yeah.
Tess.
Not only mental illness or like ADD, also physical handicap like if they cannot walk or it's hard for them to go to the bathroom. So I
Mm,
think it's easier if they just do it in the house. So
mm.
if they're in a wheelchair, some parents might prefer the one, yeah, homeschooling.
Yeah. Yeah, good thinking. Yeah, especially if their treatment requires lots of medication or a really different structure than public schools.
Mhm.
All right, ladies, good thoughts. Interesting. Um, let's look at this one too. So, how does homeschool differ from a traditional public schools? So think of positives and negatives differences. Um, and Anna, why don't we start with you again? Can you think of any? Um, How is homeschooling different?
Okay. Um. Well. Um. A benefit the student might might have their own schedule adapted to the students, um, to study in their own pace. You know what I mean? And sometimes um, to be more advanced in some areas, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because the parents might push them up.
Yeah.
Um, and some universities like more people who were homeschooled. Once I read that Harvard tend to accept more homeschooled
Interesting.
students. I don't know why, but
That's really interesting.
yes, I read an article, a research about the rates, of the students who are accepted there. And some drawbacks, they don't have the same opportunities to socialize with other children, to see people from different backgrounds, to learn uh, about about diversity and social inclusion, and to follow a hierarchy, to follow rules, because in life we have to follow rules. There is always a hierarchy. You have to obey your boss when you are an adult.
Hmm.
So it's the same. You have to respect a hierarchy. It's not your family. You and your parents, you have to do what your parents say. So no, there are some things that everyone does, you know,
Yeah.
and even uh, to learn how to stand up for yourself, because even when children suffer from a bully, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
they are learning,
Hmm.
they
Yeah.
are socializing.
Yeah. Yeah. Even those negative experiences can be important to socialization. Um, yeah, great points. So some great positives and negatives, how they're different. Um, great. Tess, can you think of any others or other ways that homeschooling's different?
Uh, for homeschooling, there will be one-on-one instructions, so there she has more chance to l- the teacher. I mean, she has more chance to know because it's only one person being taught, and the setting is just in the house, so it's relaxed. It's not formal.
Mhm.
But the I think the negative effect of this is that he will just have less interaction because he's just by himself. He's not interacting with the same age group.
Mhm. Mhm.
For the public school, the opposite of the other one, positive effect will be there will be more interactions, and they can experience competitions, especially if they like challenges. So they can experience competitions. The negative could be sometimes some kids they're not diagnosed if they have autism, so they're not comfortable with noises. They're very shy, and then it will turn out to bullying.
Mhm.
That's all I
Great,
can think of.
great. Yeah, some great pros and cons for each. Um, yeah, so even in the public schools, it might be more challenging, especially if they have disabilities or are very different. All right. All right. Anything to add, anyone? I think those are great points for that question. Um, and let's see. I am interested in this. Ana Carolina's already told us that homeschooling is illegal. They're in Brazil. So people don't do it. But there's a second question here. Do you know anyone who was homeschooled? So both, is homeschooling common in the area where you live? Do you know anyone who was homeschooled? Maybe I'll answer this one first. Homeschooling was uncommon where I grew up because it was a big city. And I think homeschooling is just less common in big cities. At least in Minnesota, homeschooling tended to happen for kids on farms, far away from physical school buildings. I've only had one friend who was homeschooled, and I remember that I was shocked when I found out because she was so normal socially. And I had this idea about homeschooled kids. So I'll turn it over to you. How about Tess? We'll start with you. Is homeschooling common where you live? And do you know anyone who was homeschooled?
Yeah, it's common in the Philippines and here in America also. I don't want to mention names, but yeah, the people I know are child actors, child actresses.
Interesting, really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would say it's uncommon here, but I live in a far, far away from that world. Really interesting. Cool. Ana Carolina, how about you?
No.
You don't know anyone who was homeschooled?
No, teacher.
Probably. That makes sense, since it's not legal there. All right. Well, we won't bother Tess to find out who these children are. Let's go on to some useful vocabulary. We're going to do a quick pronunciation with these. So 10 words, phrases. I'm going to say each one 3 times. On your side, with your mic on mute, you can repeat after me each time. And feel free to ask questions, please. So here we go. Real quick pronunciation. Number 1 is alternative.
Alternative.
Yeah, good. Alternative.
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 Very nice. Number 2, public.
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 Very nice. I'll try to highlight the stressed syllables too. First syllable here. Allergy.
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 Beautiful. This word we've already used a few times. Bullying.
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 Great, great. 5. Again, stress on that first syllable. Benefit.
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 Very nice. Good. Number 6. This O gets an ah sound because it's between 2 consonants. So bond.
Bond.
Nice.
Bond.
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 Bond. Like an A. An A.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Like an A. Like an ah. Yeah. The same as the character in the movies. Bond. James Bond.
Bond.
Yeah. So with the A sound. Very nice. Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you very much. This one, drawback.
Drawback.
Good, good. Pretty equal stress because this is kind of a compound word. So drawback.
Drawback.
And one more time, drawback.
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 Great. All right. Next one is, again, stress on the first syllable. Sacrifice.
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 Great. Next one, a phrase here. Face criticism.
Face criticism.
Criticism.
Oh, great. This is good. Face criticism.
Face criticism.
Face criticism.
Face criticism.
Beautiful. And we'll get to the meaning in just a moment. One more. On a daily basis.
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 Good. And you've probably already heard, but this is our main stress of the phrase. One more time. On a daily basis.
On a daily basis.
Beautiful. Nice. In conjunction. Any questions on pronunciation?
Nope.
All right. I'm sure David was back there pronouncing as well. David, hello.
Hello, Stephanie. I was pronouncing but mute.
All right. I trust you 100%.
Yeah, sure.
We're glad you're here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Just really quick, what do you think about homeschooling?
Me?
Yeah.
Homeschooling is homework?
Great. Good. I'm glad I asked. So our topic today, homeschooling, is when a student does not go to traditional school, but the parents decide to teach the children themselves or pay for a private teacher. So basically homeschooling is when the student goes to school at home rather than with other children. So we just got into it. We're going to match the vocabulary now. A lot of them you probably know, but let's just quickly take a guess. This is a preview, so if you don't know, just guess. Number one. Tess, will you take number one, please?
Alternative. Letter B. Another choice. Not traditional.
Great. Yep, so homeschooling is an alternative to traditional schools. Good. Anna Carolina, too.
Public. Related to or available to the whole population.
Great, exactly right. Public schools are available to everyone. David, to you.
Allergy. Okay, a negative. No. To receive disapproval? No.
I'll give you a hint. This is a noun.
Yes. A physical reaction to a substance.
Exactly. Yep, so if I take a medicine and I suddenly can't breathe, I may have an allergy to that substance or medicine. Great, back to Tess, number 4.
Bullying, letter I, ongoing physical or mental abuse, usually from a peer.
Yeah. So it happens a lot at schools, sadly. Anna Carolina, 5.
Benefit. A positive result. A pro. Pro.
Exactly
Pro.
right.
Pro.
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 Yeah, we would almost put a little bit of a W sound on there. Pro, but not quite. Pro. Great. Pros and cons. David, to you.
Bond. Uh, I'm not sure. A strong relationship.
You are correct. Very good. If you have a bond with someone, you have a strong relationship with them. Great. Tess, back to you.
Drawback, letter J, a negative result. A con. Con.
Good. Yep, we have benefits and drawbacks, pros and cons. Anna Carolina.
Sacrifice. The giving up of something important in exchange for something else.
Exactly. If I want to lose weight, I have to sacrifice ice cream. Good thing I don't want to. Okay, David, letter 9. Number 9, please. David?
Sorry, I was speaking again. Face face criticism. To receive disapproval from others.
Wonderful. And exactly. Face here is a verb, which means to look at something directly. And that means our last one is letter D, every day, on a daily basis. All right. We're going to see these words in our text. We have 5 paragraphs. So each of you are going to read 1, and a couple of you will read 2. We're just going to keep going in order. Tess, will you read our first paragraph for us, please?
Homeschooling is an alternative to private and public education. A homeschooled student does not attend classes at a school. In most cases, parents homeschool their own children at their own homes as well as in their community.
All right, very nice. Any questions on the first paragraph? Questions or comments? This is a discussion class, so anything you might want to say.
Excuse me. So if you homeschool your own child, uh, up to what age can you do that? And then how can they get certificate that they did?
Great question. From what I'm aware of in the United States, any parent can choose to homeschool, but they have to register somehow, and their child has to pass all of the same tests that a public school student would have to pass. And if a student doesn't pass a test, then they're placed in public school, or their parents are no longer allowed to homeschool them. So at least that's what I think I know.
Thank you for explaining.
Yeah, my pleasure. Great question. And I think it's very expensive, just because you have to teach specific material, and so you have to probably buy textbooks and all that. I don't know why you wouldn't just have the free school. But anyway, thank you. Let's head on. Number 2, Anna Carolina, will you read that for us?
Parents are homeschooling their kids. Some parents are concerned about food allergies at school. Others are worried about bullying. Many don't approve of the quality of public education in their region. Some don't want their kids to take long bus rides. Teacher, is it bullying or bullying? I'm sorry.
Good. This one is a little hard. It's bullying.
Bullying?
Yeah, which is hard. Let me think for a second. Yeah.
Because this one, how to pronounce it?
I think the 2 vowels, the long E and then the short I, like kind of blend together, and that's what's really hard to pronounce. So I think if you put in a Y, that might help. So bullying. Yeah, that might help.
Bullying.
It's still difficult to say, but try.
Bullying.
Yeah,
You
that sounds really good.
Thank you.
Great question. All right, so this paragraph's a few of the reasons they might homeschool. Any other questions on this paragraph? All right, let's continue. David, number 3 for you.
Okay. Homeschooling has many benefits. Families can set their own schedules. Students can focus on the topics that interest them most. Some kids learn things hands-on better than from textbooks. Homeschooled families also develop close bonds.
All right, great. Thank you.
And hands-on
Great. So this is, let's see, learn things hands-on. This is an adverb that goes along with the verb learn. So to learn hands-on would be to learn through doing versus to learn through watching. Yeah, let me write that down too. To do something actively. Great question. Other questions on this paragraph? All right. This seems silly to me, this sentence. So do non-homeschooled families through other things that they do. Anyhow, let's go on. Tess, we're back to you for paragraph 4.
There are some drawbacks to homeschooling. Firstly, homeschooling is a financial sacrifice for most families. One parent becomes an unpaid teacher and may have to leave his or her job. Homeschooled kids also have to make a special effort to socialize by joining teams and clubs. Many homeschool families face criticism from family and friends. They have to answer questions about their homeschooling decision on a daily basis.
Great. Thank you. All right. Questions or comments?
I have a question about the pronunciation of develop or develop.
Where is it?
The 3rd paragraph.
Oh, 3rd paragraph. Develop.
Thank you.
Yeah, stress on that 2nd syllable, develop. Good.
Me for number 4.
Mhm.
I didn't know that it will be a result for homeschooling. The family will be criticized by other family. I didn't realize it will happen.
Yeah, that's I hadn't thought of that either. Even though I'm someone who might have criticized this. Yeah, so that's a difficult thing I wouldn't have thought of either. Interesting. Yeah, that's one of those life decisions that everyone would feel they have a right to comment on. um, I have one comment on this. I was a lifeguard for 8 years in high school and college. And in college, I worked at a swimming pool, and once a month on a Friday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., the pool was closed for homeschool kids. Like a group of homeschool kids would come to socialize. Um, so that's really a big deal. Parents who homeschool put a lot of effort really into trying to socialize, or at least the good ones do. All right. Let's continue. Last one, Anna Carolina, goes to you.
Every family homeschools differently. Some parents create a daily schedule. Others let the children take the lead. Volunteering, religious studies, project work, and play may all be part of the day.
All right, great, thank you. This is one thing that homeschool really a really big advantage over public school. I think public school needs a lot more of this stuff in its day. Any questions or comments on that paragraph or any of the other paragraphs?
A question.
Mhm.
Teacher, why the word all? And
Um,
they may all.
uh, yeah.
I don't get. I think it should be also.
Um, this is a style choice. It's not necessary, but it's referring back to these separate events. So it's saying that each of these may be part of the day. It's totally unnecessary, and kind of just a style choice to make it clear that,
Okay.
yeah,
It's not referring to play. It's referring to everything.
yeah, everything.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, great question.
I understand now.
Good. Yay! Sometimes I feel like I'm not great at explanations. All right, so that was our text. Pretty interesting to me as a public school teacher, who takes it a little personal if people think public schools are bad. Let's continue. I do recommend this vocabulary review and this one, but we're here for discussion, so let's go to questions first. Let's make this a hypothetical. If you, let's see, would homeschooling have been a good alternative for you? After we've seen all these kind of perks that we maybe hadn't thought of, would homeschooling have been a good idea for you, for a learner like you? Why not? Do I have a volunteer that wants to start?
May I?
Please do. Thank you.
Okay. I don't think it would be good for me. Because I have good memories about my friends, and I used to have a lot of classes, and you know. But I think the choice that my parents have made had made when I was a child to enroll me at a religious school was a bad choice, because I hate nuns so far. They are all evil. Yes,
That's so funny. So it might have been good in a way.
no.
No. Oh, funny, funny, funny.
I,
I
I, I think it's important to go to school to socialize with children from different backgrounds. It's not the same to go to a club or something like that. The environment of a classroom is different.
I agree. I agree. Uh,
I don't agree with their choices about their religion in
mhm,
school,
mhm.
but if I could go back to the past, I would enroll me at a private school, not religious.
Mhm. Okay. Interesting. So definitely not homeschooling, but it would have been good to get away from the religious. Yeah, sadly, most private schools, well, I guess it's changing in the United States, but yeah, private schools all seem to have a lot of the religion, uh, which turned out not to be good for a learner like you. Great. Thank you for going first. Let's move to the right. David, how about you? Do you think homeschooling would have been a good choice, a good alternative for a learner like you?
Well, Stephanie, in my opinion, I think that the parents always want the best for their kids, but I think that they cannot negate they cannot that you have to share with the society and to share with kids. So I think that they have some benefits and some bad things. You could be a better student if you attend homeschooling, but in the other way, you you will be like very isolated person, and that will get you problems with shyness. So I think that the best decision is uh, lead the freedom of your kids.
Right. Yeah. Um, yeah, to give them a little freedom that they can't get with homeschooling. Right. Great. Thank you, David. Nice answer. Tess, how about you? Would homeschooling have been a good alternative for a learner like you?
Um, for my status right now, I'm working. So there's some, for example, Spanish. I really want to know how to speak Spanish. And then I tried to join the Spanish learning in Verbling. I cannot interact because I don't know anything about Spanish. Maybe tutoring will work good for me as of now. Yeah, than joining other a big group because I don't know anything about Spanish language.
Yeah, yeah, and verbling can be very difficult for beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it might be homeschooling. Well, homeschooling with languages
Mhm.
is almost impossible. You have to interact. Well, the internet makes it possible, but
Mhm.
um, all
But
right.
one-on-one is better if you don't know anything because you cannot interact with the group.
Yeah, yeah, it's really hard for beginners, I think, in the groups.
Mhm.
definitely, I agree.
Mm.
Great, great thoughts, interesting ideas. Yeah, that's another thing too with homeschooling. You can, if it's a parent homeschooling, you really can't learn. I mean, you can, but you're kind of restrained by what your parent knows, right? My parents don't speak Spanish, so they couldn't really have helped me learn Spanish. My parents don't know calculus. um, so homeschoolers on their way, they have to rely on books a lot more, I think. All right. I think let's do one more, because this came up in the reading and was kind of interesting. Um, why do parents judge each other for personal decisions? And maybe not just parents, but people in general. Why do parents judge each other? David, what do you think? We'll start with you.
The fourth one, sorry.
Yeah, about parents. Why do parents judge each other?
Why do parents judge each other for personal decisions? Well, because they are envy.
They are envious.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yes.
jealous.
They are jealous because I think that people judge other people is in the case when they are jealous, they are envious,
Hmm.
or you don't like it because you are more successful than them, or maybe because they believe that they are better and they talk bad about your decisions. Everything is these personal opinions are not very objective, are very subjective. So
Great. I agree, and I think people in general. I think envy and jealousy um, is a huge reason why we judge each other.
yes, they are not tolerant. They
Hmm.
just want to talk about something, someone.
Hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, that seems to be true. Great. Anna Carolina, any thoughts? Anything to add?
Yes, I agree because you were talking about the knowledge of the parents. Sometimes parents uh, have some difficulties with math, so how can then know how they can teach math, for instance, you know.
Hmm.
Um, okay, I think parents judge each other for personal decisions because as parents, um, people don't want to see children um being brought up in a wrong way. We 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 people we in general we want to see children being raised in the right way because it's easier to raise a child well than to fix a broken adult. You know, for instance, some people are against vaccination and they have a wrong belief that vaccination might lead to autism, and then they put it, not only their children in danger, but also other children. You know, it was just an example. But sometimes people judge one another because they assume things.
Hmm.
And in my opinion, assumption is the mother of the misunderstandings. Because sometimes you you think something about someone, but it's not true at all.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think people do, like you said, when it comes to kids, it's almost like it's our business because it affects us through we're kind of connected through our kids. I don't have kids, but it seems to be for parents maybe concern, if one parent has a kid and the other parent has a kid, they don't vaccinate. It's easy to see how that might be a problem for the other parent. Great point. Yeah, and we love children and want what's best for them. Well said. Tess, anything to add on to that? Or any other comments?
I think one thing why we judge or why other people judge us is discrimination. For example, this is not our first language. That's why we want to learn. We enrolled in Burbling. So sometimes if they hear people not pronouncing words properly, they think they're not smart. But actually, these are rich people. Yeah, yeah, the immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
And, mhm,
That's a very common
mhm.
assumption and judgment, false judgment. Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that goes back to kind of people making snap judgments or, not taking the time to consider people or maybe think deeply. Maybe because of jealousy, maybe because of snobbery, whatever it be. But really great thoughts. Yeah, good point. And I suppose, yeah, people like to gossip. Imagine how much worse it must have been before television. At least now we can watch fake gossip on TV. Can't imagine what it must have been like in the past. All right, you guys, I wish we had more time actually, but this was a pretty good discussion. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with me. And if you enjoyed this class, there will be more in the future, and I hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Thank you,
Stephanie.
Take care.
Stephanie.
Bye-bye.
You have promised to us to post a class for tomorrow.
Oh yeah, what should I post it? What class should I do tomorrow? I have one at 2 o'clock my time.
Are you asking me to choose the topic?
If you want to. I haven't decided what
Okay.
I would do yet.
Either role plays or acting in Friends. Do you? Either either role plays at random
Mhm.
or pronunciation through acting.
All right. I think we'll do an acting class then.
Great.
Great. That's going to be my only class. I'll set it up right now.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. You just made my job a little easier. Now I don't have to think about what to teach tomorrow.
All right. See you tomorrow.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.